guys, Ashley Elizabeth here with AEHM Artistry, and today we are talking about going cruelty-free, specifically how I'm going cruelty-free without actually being a vegan. So today I want to answer some of your questions out there and let you guys know how I'm transitioning into cruelty-free and why. Now, I'm not trying to force this decision on anybody else. This is all a decision that we all have to make on our own, but hopefully I can shed a little bit of light on this subject and also let you guys know that moving forward, my channel will only be using cruelty-free products. Now, I started making this transition over in October, so I do have some videos that are sprinkled in there, maybe just a handful, like 5, I think, that have some non-cruelty-free brands in there, but I will be converting those over to let the consumer know, whoever's watching, that this is not a cruelty-free brand and offer a dupe. So with that being said, let's move forward and let's discuss all of this. So why? Why am I going cruelty-free even though I still consume meat and dairy? Isn't that a little bit hypocritical? Doesn't that not make sense to do one and not the other? Should I be all or nothing? How do I know that these products are safe for me to put on my skin and on my body, even if they aren't tested on animals? It's all questions like these that I had to ask myself last year when I was deciding to make the change over to being a cruelty-free consumer. And it's questions that I know a lot of you guys have out there as well. So we'll start off with going cruelty-free even though you still consume meat and dairy. Now, I'm not somebody who believes in having to go all or nothing. I think that you can make changes in your life to affect a positive change and a positive outlook, and if anybody judges you on that, that's their own thing. I'm not going to judge anybody else if they're able to go all or nothing, all completely meat and dairy free, no animal testing, anything like that. That is so awesome and I commend you for it, but it's not something that I know everybody can do. So I don't want that holding you back, that you still consume meat and dairy, to hold you back from the fact that animal testing, at least for products and makeup and hair care, that it's all for vanity purposes and we don't have to wear blush or dye our hair, anything like that. So to me, some people have to consume meat and dairy for whatever reasons, and makeup is not one of those things that we have to do or use. So it is easy for me to make that decision to cut that part out of my life and only purchase products from brands that are cruelty-free and do not sell to mainland China or other countries that require animal testing in order to sell there. Now, I don't want anybody to be fighting in the comment section or anything like that. Everybody has to make their own decision. I had to make that decision when I was finally deciding that, hey, you know what? I don't want animals to be tortured, killed, slaughtered, anything like that, just for the sake of trying the new, hottest, latest mascara. Believe me, it is super annoying to see all these advertisements from companies that the product looks amazing and it's awesome, but guess what? They're either not cruelty-free or they made a decision to sell in China who demands it. And it's a bummer, but you know what? The next brand over is cruelty-free and they just launched a great mascara too, and I can try that one instead, and who cares? It's not necessary for me to purchase from those brands that don't want to change their ways. And just know that in my diet, I am consciously making the effort to switch to plant-based foods where I can and where I'm comfortable with. It's just not something that I'm 100% comfortable with doing completely flat out at this time. So how do we know that it's safe to put these products on our skin, on our bodies, if they're not tested on animals? First of all, a lot of ingredients have been grandfathered in over the many years that we have tried products on ourselves and on the regular testing scales and everything. So there's no need to continue to test these ingredients it's done. We all know it's not safe to drink bleach, so we don't need to keep testing it, right? And new ingredients have much safer and more effective ways of testing than putting it on a dog or a pig. There are such amazing advances going on in sciences and biology that they can actually mimic synthetic human skin and test on those. Now, I'm not going to go into full detail. Just know that there is out there, and I will put links in the description box so you can read for yourself all the science jargon. Most of this stuff I can't pronounce or quite remember, but I just know that there are much better, safer, cheaper ways of testing than raising an animal, growing animals in a lab, and then testing on them and injecting stuff into their eyes or their skin or their body. It's so sad, you guys. It's seriously so sad what we're doing for unnecessary reasons. So it's great that science has made advances into making sure that these products are still safe for humans. Humans and animals are so different. We all know our DNA is so different. So why are we even testing on animals when say chocolate is toxic to dogs, just like onions are, yet humans can eat it? So So how is it that we can test certain products on animals because we don't even know still after testing if it's safe for humans? Let's just cut out the middleman here, or the middle dog, and start doing more effective testing in ways that do not harm people or animals. It boggles my mind to me why companies are still testing, or why countries are still making it mandatory to test on animals this way, in this barbaric way. And the only conclusion I can come up with, and of course it's just a theory, but I think it's a pretty close one, is it's just lining the pockets of bigwigs. It's just stuffing their pockets full of money for whatever reason. Somebody's profiting off of continuing to animal test, which is funny because companies save money by not doing animal testing and going the alternate routes, but that's my theory. And until we make enough noise that this is not okay, they're gonna continue getting away with it and doing it. So with that being said, let's vote with our money and with our purchases. Let's let them know, hey, this is what we want and this is what we need. And the only way to do that is to purchase products that are cruelty free, and eventually, hopefully, it'll go up to those bigwigs and they'll see that, hey, you know what, a change needs to happen. Even if they're not doing it for humanitarian purposes, at least it's in the right direction, right? And it's no secret at all that brands are spending millions of dollars on social media marketing, and they're spending millions of dollars on influencers to captivate their audiences that are sitting right in front of them. So imagine if these big influencers suddenly decided not only to go cruelty free, but to make noise about it. It is easy to go cruelty free and stay silent because somebody else is going to come up right behind you and take those deals that those non-cruelty free brands are offering. But you know what? What if we made enough noise for those big influencers to say enough's enough? We don't need to test on them anymore. A lot of these big influencers know and are somewhat aware, and I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot here, but they are making brands and makeup products and whatever that are not tested on animals, so they know that there's a market for it. So I hope to eventually reach those markets and tell people, hey, let's go cruelty free and let's make some noise, because suddenly these brands are going to get rejected and they're not going to be able to advertise to the millions of people that watch their videos, and they're going to be pretty bummed about that, and they're going to feel like they need to make a change. And I know I'm nowhere near being a major influencer or anything like that. I'm just here showing you my favorite products, showing you tutorials, showing you everything that I love, and hopefully that will eventually make a difference. I mean, if everybody's only purchasing cruelty products, eventually all these other companies will have to switch, right? And it's so silly too, because a lot of companies will claim that they're cruelty free, but they're not in my eyes, because they still sell in mainland China, where it is required to do animal testing, and not just like one-time testing. No, they have to test all products going into the market. They do random pulls in Sephora's there. They do all of that. So lots of unnecessary testing that goes on there. It's just super frustrating. But the funny thing is, if they pulled out of those markets, like MAC, for instance, who I feel like they're struggling. I mean, the stores I see are always empty, but whatever, that's just an observation. I feel like MAC would do so much better for themselves if they pulled back out of the Chinese market and went back to being 100% cruelty free. I feel like so many more people would be purchasing them again. But you know what? Whatever. So know that it is a challenge, and it's not something that you can necessarily do overnight, but taking those steps towards that is tremendous. Some brands are incredibly misleading about this, because all brands know that consumers are becoming aware of this. So they're getting very good at their verbiage on their FAQs or on their packaging about whether or not they test on animals. So it makes it very difficult as us consumers try to navigate through all these terminologies and stuff to try to figure out, is this brand cruelty free? Do they sell in China? Don't beat yourself up for that. If you accidentally make a purchase and you're trying to go cruelty free, but you find out you purchased something that wasn't, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. You're trying, and you're trying to go the best you can in the right direction. And I've personally made purchases that I thought were cruelty free, but it turns out they weren't, or they changed and they started selling in China or whatever. And I have friends that are vegan that have done it too, and it's okay. Mistakes happen, things happen. So do not beat yourself up. And that goes back to being all or nothing. Like, we're not gonna freak out if we accidentally make a mistake. It's okay. Sometimes we fall short as consumers, but we're doing the best we can, and given the advertising that is pushed down our throats. So I will tell you a couple brands that I have recently done this with that I thought were 100% cruelty free, and it turns out, nope, they weren't. One being Glam Glow. That is a super, super disappointing one to me. I own every single one of their masks, so I'm pretty upset about that, but you know what? It happens. What are you gonna do? When I originally was introduced into Glam Glow years ago, what has it been, 8 years now? They were cruelty free. They were only made in the USA. They were a small company owned by husband and wife, and within the last year, they got bought out. I'm not sure exactly which brand bought them out. So with that, they wanted to expand into the Chinese market, as all of them end up wanting to do. So what does that mean? Their products are not tested on animals in that country. So some people say, hey, it's not a big deal, it's tested in that country. To me, that's a personal decision, but to me that is a big deal because they are choosing money over animal rights, and I think that's just sad. So moving forward, I will not be purchasing any products from Glam Glow, and I'm not going to necessarily throw everything away, but I will not be advertising, I will not be talking about them on here anymore. And that's another thing, if you have products already that you've purchased that you find out are not cruelty free, you don't have to necessarily throw them away. I personally think that that would be wasteful, and you know, an animal already suffered from it, so you might as well not throw it away at that point. You know what I mean? A couple other brands that everybody thinks are cruelty free but aren't. Benefit is a huge one. Their whole marketing thing just looks so pretty, so pink and innocent and sweet, but you guys, they sell in China. They are not cruelty free. Another one is Peter Thomas Roth. I have a lot of products from them, so I'm super bummed about that. But anyways, there are a lot of good brands out there and awesome brands that do not test on animals and do not sell in China where required by law. So that is great. Do not feel stuck. Do not feel trapped. That is why I'm doing all these series every other month about cruelty-free brands. I just did a 7 days of cruelty-free foundation series, and we had some winners in there. There's always going to be some good ones and some bad ones, just like with regular brands, but don't feel stuck. Now with drugstore brands, it is a little bit more challenging because a lot of them have a lot of money behind them. And I noticed when I went to purchase all my cruelty-free drugstore products that they put all those non-cruelty-free brands front and center. There's so much money behind it. So that being Revlon, Maybelline, CoverGirl, all of them unfortunately either test on animals or sell in China where they do. And that's a bummer. You know, they make it right in your face so you don't even think about it. But there are great brands such as Wet n Wild, Elf, NYX, all of those are awesome, more cutting edge, and they do not test on animals anywhere. Now to go down the rabbit hole a little bit further, there is some controversy circulating over parent companies who own non-cruelty free brands, yet they themselves test on animals. Like L'Oreal, for instance, they test on animals, but they own, I believe it's Urban Decay. So Urban Decay remains a cruelty-free brand, but some people don't want to give them their money because their parent company owns it and the money eventually goes there too. That's your own decision. That's for you to decide. But for me, I think it's important to put our money where they can see it. So if L'Oreal sees that everybody's only spending money on their non-cruelty-free brands that they own, we hope to eventually change their minds, right? We hope that they see that they could make more money across the board if they change all of their brands to reflect that same decision. But I know that's a personal decision and you have to decide for yourself, and we can go down the whole rabbit tube with that, but maybe we should save it for another video. I don't know. We all just need to know though that large manufacturers are continuing to get away with this because we continue to purchase from them. And again, not trying to force anybody into this. This is all your own decision, but they're not going to change their ways. If it's kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If people are still buying from us, why do we care? You know, at the end of the day, they're just looking at numbers. They're not even thinking about all this. So why are they going to change their ways? Because some people are upset about it. Now, I do get questions sometimes. Do you really think it makes a difference as a consumer? Do you really think that your money makes a difference where you put it? And I say absolutely. And you know what? There's proof of it already. You can read up on Urban Decay's story somewhere online. You could just Google Urban Decay going cruelty free, something like that. When they originally got purchased by, again, I think it was L'Oreal, people were roaring. They were upset. UD had announced that they were going to be selling in mainland China, which would take away their cruelty-free status. People were pissed. And guess what? Instead of going blindly and not listening to their consumers and jeopardizing their brand, they decided, whoa, 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 whoa. We won't do it. We're not going to do there. We're sorry. We will not be changing our morals and our beliefs just for the almighty dollar. And that is awesome. And there's many other brands that have done the same thing. Specifically, Laura Mercier and Smashbox actually have never sold in China, I guess, or temporarily did. There was something really silly with their packaging that they tried to cut corners and be cost effective and put on there that they will only test if required by law because they were considering going into the countries that required it, but then they actually never did because people were pretty upset about that too. Same thing with Stila. Stila used to not be a cruelty-free company, and they are now due to the demand of the consumer. So you guys, that is good news. The more brands that come out too that are cruelty-free, the better. So it does make a difference. Do not feel discouraged. Be excited, be happy to save the bunnies, save the piggies, the cats and the dogs, everything in between. I want to say I'm obviously no expert in this field. I have been making this switch since I think it was October when I was like, okay, I'm only going to do that now. I just want to spread awareness as much as possible. So please share this on any of your social media networks you feel would benefit from that. Any messages you can send to your friends that may have questions, because the more people that are aware and make the switch, the better I think the outcome will be for both the animals and for the humans. If you want to check out more information about going cruelty-free and also vegan options and no animal product options, all of that, please go check out crueltyfreekitty.com and logicalharmony.net. Both of those websites I used when making the switch, and I continue to use so I can check whether products are cruelty-free or not, or whether they're sold in China or not. And they have been a tremendous resource, and I encourage you guys, if you're thinking about making the switch, to go check them out, and I will definitely link that in the description box, of course, for you to quickly access, as well as that link I talked to you about how they test products safety without testing on animals. So you can check that out as well. So do not feel alone and do not feel overwhelmed. It's easier than you think. And you guys, if you have any questions, I will try my best to answer them in the comments below. But again, please use those website resources because I am, again, no expert in this. However, if you do want to see more cruelty-free products, be sure to hit that little subscribe button. I post videos 2 to 3 times a week, including things like product reviews, tutorials, all that fun stuff. I don't always just sit down and rant. I actually do it pretty rarely. But I thought it was necessary and it was time to let you guys know where my channel is transitioning to. Thank you again so much for sitting down and watching with me and listening to my little ranty McRanterstein. And you guys have a great, lovely day.